So we will start with the cluster analysis part 2. We already studied about two types of clustering algorithms, that is partitioning type and hierarchical type. In partitioning type, we discussed about the k-means clustering. In k-means clustering, we need to specify the number of clusters and also we have to specify the initial seeds. Usually k-means clustering algorithm uses Euclidean distance as the distance measure. Then we studied about agglomerative method, in which we are initially assuming that each object is a cluster. Then we will merge two clusters, two nearest clusters and continue like that until we get a large cluster. And in hierarchical clustering, agglomerative clustering, we used distance measures like single link, complete link, etc. to compute distance between clusters. So hierarchical method is different from k-means. In hierarchical method, there is no need of specifying the number of clusters and also the cluster seeds. In agglomerative method, we studied in the previous class, we are starting with each object as a cluster, then we are merging the clusters. And today we will discuss about the divisive approach, which is opposite to the agglomerative approach. So in all these cases, the results depends on the distance measures used. Usually in clustering, we are using different distance measures to find, in hierarchical clustering, we are using distance measures to find distance between objects as well as distance between clusters. Distance measures have some of these properties like distance is always positive, distance from x to x should be 0, distance from x to y cannot be greater than sum of the distance from x to z and z to y. Then distance x to y is same as distance from y to x. All these properties should be satisfied by the different distance measures. So in this case also we are using different distance measures like Manhattan distance, in which we are taking the absolute difference and finding the sum. Then Euclidean distance, that is sigma xi minus yi the whole square and taking the sum and finally finding the square root. Maximum difference is xi, maximum of the difference between xi and yi. Now in divisive method also we are using distance between clusters. Distance between clusters, the different measures for finding the distance between clusters is single link method. Single link method is known as the nearest neighbor. Here we are finding distance between two clusters, that is the distance between the two closest points. And in complete linkage, we are finding all the pairwise distance and taking the maximum, that is the distance between the farthest neighbor. The distance between two clusters is the distance between two farthest points. Now this centroid method, which we did not discuss in the previous class, there is one more measure for finding distance between clusters. This is known as the centroid method. In centroid method, the distance between two clusters is the distance between the centroids of the two clusters. We will in k-means clustering, we know how to find the centroid of two clusters. So when we have to find the distance between two clusters, we will find the centroid of each cluster and take the distance between the centroids. Then unweighted pair group average method, that is we will find out all the pairs, all the distance, pairwise distance, then take the sum and find out the average. So if there are p objects in one cluster and n objects in another cluster, there will be p into n distance measures. So we will find the sum of all these and divide by p into n. These are the representation, iterative representation for the different distance measures to find distance between clusters. In single link, you can see that A is one group of cluster, B is another group. When you take the distance, you can find that In single link, we are finding the distance between two closest points. That means taking pairwise distance and taking the minimum value. And complete link is you will take all the pairwise distance and take the maximum value. That is the farthest, largest distance, maximum distance. This is the centroid method. So you can find the centroid of the cluster A, that is represented as C. Similarly, the centroid of cluster B is represented as C. We can find out the centroid of the two clusters and take distance between the centroids. So this is known as the centroid link. This is a pair group average method in which we are finding out all the pairwise distance, and then we will take the sum of all the pairwise distance, then divide by the number of clusters, total number of distance. That is, if there are p clusters in one group and n clusters in another group, there will be total p into n measures. So we will divide all the sum by p into product of p and n. Today's class we will discuss about divisive clustering, divisive hierarchical clustering. It is opposite to agglomerative. That is, it is using a top-down approach. We are starting with all the objects, a single cluster, and we try to split the cluster into two. Again, we divide the clusters into two and continue like that. So in agglomerative, we are starting with each object as a single cluster and merge the clusters. Whereas in divisive method, we will assume that the whole object, set of object is a cluster, and then we start splitting the clusters into two and continue like that. And the split may be based on using one variable, or it may be based on the all variables together. So algorithm terminates when termination condition is met, or when there is only one object. There are other termination conditions. We can give a specific limit for the distance measure, threshold distance. So there are two types of divisive methods. That is, we can split the data based on one variable at a time or using all the variables together. In the monothetic approach, we are splitting the cluster using one variable at a time. Whereas in polythetic approach, we are splitting the cluster using all attributes together. So this is an example where we can apply the divisive clustering algorithm. Here we are given the details of 10 students, their age, and the mark for 3 subjects are given. We can apply the divisive clustering algorithm to this data. Then you will understand how the divisive algorithm is working. Now the algorithm, the different steps of the divisive algorithm. Here we are using a polythetic approach. That means we are considering all the attributes for finding the clusters. We are taking into all attributes, not a single attribute. So this approach is known as polythetic approach. So this is a polythetic divisive algorithm. In the first step, we have to decide on the method of measuring the distance between two objects. And sometimes we will give the problem in the threshold distance will be given. If the distance is below this threshold, we can stop the algorithm, or we can continue until there is single cluster. Each object forms a cluster. So in the next, we have to create a distance matrix by computing distance between all pairs of objects. So in divisive hierarchy, all the hierarchical clustering, we are finding out the distance between all pair of objects. Then we have to sort the distance. Sorting is to find the minimum or maximum value. Then we can find two most dissimilar objects. That is the object having the largest distance between them. If the distance is smaller than the pre-specified threshold, then we can stop. That means sometimes we will be given the a threshold value where we can stop the algorithm. When the distance is less than this threshold value, we can stop. Otherwise, we have to continue until all the single objects are in forms. All the object forms single objects forms a cluster. Now, in the fifth step, we can use the pair of objects identified in step 3 as seeds of K-means algorithm to create new clusters. Now we can examine all objects, place each object in cluster which has the seed with a smaller distance. If there is only one object, we can stop. We can clearly understand this algorithm when we apply this algorithm to the data. So in two major issues in the divisive method is which cluster to split next and how to split the cluster. There are different possibilities. We can split the cluster in some sequential order, or we can split the cluster that has large number of objects, or split the cluster based on the largest variation. Here we are splitting the cluster based on the largest number of objects. Now we can split the cluster based on k-means algorithm. We can find out the objects with the largest distance, and this can be given as a seed to the k-means clustering algorithm. Now we can see the example how this divisive approach is applied in the student database shown. Here we are using Manhattan distance because it is simple to compute. Then we can calculate the distance matrix based on Manhattan distance. This is the database. We are starting with the distance matrix. How to find out the distance? Suppose you want to find out the distance between S1 and S2. Here we already know how to find out the Manhattan distance. Take the difference between 18 and 18. 73, 79, difference is 6. 75, 85, difference is 10. 57, 75, 80. So total 34. So the distance distance matrix is displayed. You can find that it is distance between S1 and S2 is 34. Similarly, you can find out all the distance values between S1, S3, S1, S4, and so on. So here we are only the upper part of the matrix that also will be similar to this matrix. So only one portion is shown. The distance between S1 and S2 34, S1, S3 18, and so on. This is the distance matrix. This is computed using the Manhattan distance. Now in agglomerative approach, we are finding the objects having the minimum distance, but in this case we have to find out the objects having the largest distance, and we are separating those two objects into two groups. So here the metric gives distance of each object with every other object, and the largest distance is between S8 and S9. They become the seeds of the two new clusters, and we can use k-means to group the two, form the two groups. So you can find that in this case the distance is maximum distance value is 115. Maximum value among these distance measures is 115, and that is between S8 and S9. So we can make S8 and S9 to form two clusters. This is the representative of one group. S8 is the representative of one group. S9 is the representative of the second group, because the distance between S8 and S9 is the largest based on the distance matrix. So to form the two groups, what we have to do, you know that S8 and S9 are the representatives. You can write the objects S8 and S9 and write all the distance values like this in this form. Take S1, S2, S3, S4, S5, S6, S7, S8, S9, S10. Then the distance between S8 and S1 from the distance matrix, it is 44. S1 and S9 is 20. Similarly, when you take the distance from S8 and S2, it is 74, and S9 it is 22. Similarly, we are recording all the values like that, and from that we can find out whether each object should go along with S8 or S9. Now when you consider the first entry, first column, second column, you can find that the distance of S1 from S8 is 44 and S9 is 20. So S1 will go along with S9. Similarly, the distance of S2 from S8 and S9. From S8, the distance is 74. From S9, it is 22. So, S2 can be combined with the S9. When you take S3, the distance from S3, distance of S3 from S8 is 40 and distance of S3 from S9 is 36. So the S3 can be combined with the 36. Similarly, you can decide all other object whether it should be combined with S8 or S9. So we are obtaining two clusters, S8 and S9 as representative. The other objects in C1 are S4, S7 and S10. In object C2 are S9 with the objects by the cluster C2 contains the object S9, S1, S2, S3, S5 and S6. So now we divided the whole data into two clusters, C1 with object S8, S4, S7, S10 and C2 with objects S9, S1, S2, S3, S5 and S6. Now we can split these two clusters. So we can take C2. C2 is the largest cluster. We are dividing C2 again. For that, we can consider the objects in C2 only and find the distance. Distance matrix is written for the elements in C2. And from this, we can find out the objects having the largest distance. Here it is. 82 is the largest. That is between S6 and S3. So they can be divided in the similar way. Similarly, they can be divided as in the previous step. In the cluster C2, the largest distance is 86 between S3 and S6. Then we can split C2 based on these two objects. So S3 will be the representative of one group and S6 will be the representative of the second group. Similarly, in the cluster C1, when you take the distance matrix, you can find that the distance is largest distance is between S8 and S10. That is 98 is the largest distance and that is between S8 and S10. You can take these two objects as the representative and you can split the objects. And we can continue like that until we get a single object in the cluster, or the problem if they specified a threshold value for the distance, we can stop when the distance of the object is less than the threshold value. So you can continue like this and finally you will get a dendrogram somewhat like this. You can see how you can continue the problem and find out the dendrogram. So in hierarchical clustering, the ordering produced can be useful in gaining some insight into the data. The major difficulty of this clustering is that once a cluster is allocated to a particular cluster, it cannot be moved to another cluster, even if the initial allocation was incorrect. Whereas in the case of k-means clustering, we are reallocating the objects. Iterative reallocation is possible in k-means clustering, but in hierarchical clustering, once an object is assigned to a cluster, it is not changed. So another problem is different distance metrics can produce different results. Anyway, the order produced can be useful in gaining some insight into the data. So this is all about divisive clustering. That means in divisive clustering, we are starting with the whole data as a cluster and then we divide the cluster into two. For dividing the cluster into two, we are looking at the objects having the largest distance, maximum distance between them. They are taken as representative and we divide and we will find out the remaining objects whether they should go with one representative or the other, and based on that we will get two clusters. Then we are continuing like that until we can find a single cluster which is a single object which is a cluster. So you can form a dendrogram in divisive clustering also, as we have done in agglomerative clustering. Now we can find out the same problem, how we can find out the agglomerative clustering. In the previous class, we discussed about agglomerative clustering and we applied single linkage, complete linkage, etc. But in that case, the distance measure was already given. Distance values were already given. But in this case, we are finding out the distance measures using any of the distance measure, any of the methods like Euclidean distance, Manhattan distance, etc. So the same problem we can continue using agglomerative clustering. That means here we are using the centroid method. Distance between two clusters can be found out using the centroid method. So this is the algorithm that we have already studied. We are assigning each object to a cluster of its own. Then we are finding the distance matrix. Then in the case of agglomerative clustering, we are finding out the two nearest clusters and merging the clusters. Now we can update the matrix by including distance of all objects from the new cluster. So we continue like that until all objects belong to one cluster. So in this case, when we apply agglomerative clustering into this database, first we have to find out the distance matrix. Here also we are assuming that the distance matrix is Manhattan. So when you the distance between S1 and S2 can be found out like this. We are taking the distance, absolute value of difference, and taking the total. So the distance between S1 and S2 is 34, S3 and S1 is 18, and like that we will get the distance matrix. Now we can combine two clusters. The smallest distance is 8 between object 4 and object 8. They are combined, and we got when we combine the object, we will get a new distance matrix. We have to compute the distance matrix based on the new cluster formed. So how the new cluster is formed? When you combine S4 and S8, here we are combining S4 and S8 because the smallest distance is 8 between S4 and S8. When you combine, how we can combine S4 and S8? The values of S4 is S4 20, 55, 55 and 55, and S8 21, 53, 56, 59. When you combine, the value of the cluster, new cluster, can be assumed as 20 plus 21 divided by 5 or 2, that is 20.5. Similarly, for this value 55 and 53, you can replace it by 54. 55 and 56 you can replace by 55.5, and 55 and 59 it is 57. So this is the combined value, and now you can find out the distance from this particular value, distance of all other objects from this value, and you can rewrite the distance matrix. So the distance matrix, when you compute the distance of C1 from S1, it is 41. When you take the difference from S1, when you take this difference, you will find that it is 41. Similarly, you can find out the distance of C1 from S2, distance of C1 from S3, and distance of C1 from S5, S6, S7, S9 and S10. Now when you take the distance matrix, the distance is 15 between objects 5 and 6. They are combined in the cluster, you will get. Then you can find you can update the cluster just like we did in the previous step, and we can compute the distance matrix. Now the C2 value is to be replaced for these two clusters, and the distance between C2 and all other objects should be found, and the values are replaced. Similarly, you can find that the distance, now the distance is between, the smallest distance is between S3 and S7, they are 16, and they should be combined, and we can form the new cluster C3, and instead of S3 we should replace it by C3. So now in this diagram there is a mistake. Actually C2 is C3 and C3 is C2. So we got three clusters, C1, C2 and C3. Similarly, we can continue like that until we get all the cluster into all the objects into a single cluster.